There we are. Perfect.
Welcome, everyone, to our study. Let me also... Let's turn on some music here.
There you go.
The music isn't playing.
No, it's not.
Oh no.
As you can see, only the finest hardware.
There we go.
There we go.
Ah.
Yes.
And as you can see, we got our finest fire. Turn the fire on.
Oh, sorry.
Just...
There.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Such a dumb joke.
Gotta turn the phones down a bit, just 'cause it's real loud in mine.
For sure. Anyways, before we start with our finishing off of Sonic Adventure 2, we have a goal to fulfill from the charity stream last month, and that's reading our reviews of Sonic Adventure 1 and 2. Since we're gonna go in order, why don't we start with you, Hun, and your review of Sonic Adventure 1.
Well, it's important to differentiate. We're talking about Sonic Adventure 1 DX, the director's cut. What are you doing with the mouse?
Don't worry about me.
For the love of God.
Don't worry about it. I'm your teleprompter right now. Don't worry about it.
As much as I would love to go off on this atrocity...
Baby Sonic, get down from there!
As much as I would love to go off on this atrocity of a game for a while, call it out on being terrible, and just call it a day, it really isn't so simple of a subject that I feel comfortable just laying this game out like a piece of garbage. I've viewed a handful of videos on YouTube wherein people describe what went wrong with this game. It was ported from the Dreamcast to the GameCube and so on, until ending up on the PC, where I attempted to relive my Dreamcast childhood. Although there is much to be said about how much nostalgia lies to everyone, of course, there is a clear difference in performance and aesthetic compared to the Dreamcast edition of this game. Sadly, to truly understand those differences in current day, I would have to obtain a working Dreamcast, a version of the original game, a bulky CRT screen, and a few peripherals. Because I'm not going to do any of those, I'll try to keep in mind what I've heard about, You gotta be careful, hon, that chick's,
sorry.
losing my place. I'd say go by the paragraph. Anyway, because I'm not going to do any of that, I'll try to keep in mind what I've heard about the original, what I remember, and how much the director's cut made me hurt. There are many places in this game where you'll find breaks and glitches in the physics. These type of issues make the entire experience of playing a Sonic game less
fun.
fun.
Nair. Also, hi, Nair.
Hello, welcome.
The baby is also
clipping
there.
Into a wall, getting stuck, sometimes even being thrown into an instant dying place, such as a pit or the ocean in Emerald Coast, can feel like you're not exactly going fast, as Sonic supposedly enjoys to. What does end up going fast is your patience in trying to solve the internal puzzle game that is trying to make 50% of this game's mechanics work in the first place. For the abundance of information spots in this game, feeding you instructions like you're a child who has never played a game before, none of them seem to explain how important the details are, like... Huh?
Getting thrown into a wall and getting stuck. Hot.
You know what? I'm not going to judge your fetish.
My fetish is no clipping into a wall and dying instantly.
For the abundance of information spots in this game, the feeding you instructions like you're a child who has never played a game before, none of them seem to explain important details, like why isn't pointing the spotlight at this place not, making the mirror reflect properly, or where am I going now that I've been launched into the air and there's no level in front of me to land on, where so many simple situations fail on so many occasions to lead you to the right direction by trial and error. It genuinely feels as though you're a game tester brute forcing the scenario in every way possible until something finally works out. To some degree, I like games that teach you how to play by letting you teach yourself, given the obvious feedback of what doesn't work. Mega Man X has been revered as a brilliant example of this type of teaching method. In that game, you can deathlessly, by elimination of options, quickly figure out what you have to do if you reach a roadblock at some point. Sonic Adventure DX instead wishes to torment you with constantly killing you off in confusing areas.
We're in Resident Evil manner right now.
While you waste lives gaining no new knowledge from your past deaths. The game wants you to fail over and over again until by absolute luck you stumble upon an answer to your problem. This is not fun. I want to complain for a bit about how much the change of textures and design in this game ruin it visually compared to the original version, but this would take away from the fact that I'm trying to write a more direct review of the director's cut. I will just say that the changes made have affected the overall visual design of this game, and on its face, the textures and colors look bland and boring. If this was the first version of Sonic Adventure that I ever played, I wouldn't have remembered enjoying the aesthetic of the game. Much like the battle mechanics, controls, plot, and physics engine, the general design wishes to take a back seat to... Wait, who's driving this car? Everything's in the back seat. You'll also notice that as you run through each character's arc in the game, everything becomes progressively more broken and mind-melting. When you're finally done fighting with the Sonic controls, you're now trying to keep up with him as Tails, who gets stuck on things and is repeatedly launched around in random directions. Knuckles handles pretty decently, but the task of hunting down random shards of the Master Emerald just starts to feel like homework to slog through. E102 Gamma has a very boring and shoehorned-in story where you get the idea that you're supposed to be feeling emotions from his experiences, but there's just nothing there. You spend the entire game arc blowing up dolls of the good guys and never really accomplishing much other than making friendly with Amy. When you play as Amy, you begin to question what life decisions brought you to where you are, and walk speed is slow and unsatisfying, which is a real bummer seeing as you'll be spending most of this arc running away from a robot. It's like getting chased in a nightmare. Amy is also the single worst representation of women in video game history. She has upskirts as early as the select character screen. All she can talk about is shopping, makeup, and how dreamy her big blue hero Sonic is. Roll that up if you would.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
You said by the paragraph.
You got it. In this game's version of Amy the Hedgehog, there is nothing likable about her. She doesn't even have the cool 80s look she did in Sonic CD from 1993. Playing as Big the Cat is like having a needle shoved into your eyes while the voice actor for the guy from Duke Nukem mumbles like a cartoonish buffoon. You go to different areas playing a severely broken fishing game while trying to catch your frog friend. I think it's more likely that he's being held captive because he wouldn't be running away otherwise. Yeah. Or I don't know. Huh?
No, don't worry about it.
Oh, okay.
I'm just getting the effect of, like, getting
of course.
a hole in my...
Oh, for sure.
In my skull. Apparently.
Or I don't know. The game said something like he's possessed by Chaos's tail or some shit. Last minute bullshit like that. So is there any reason to play this game? Well, kind of. If you can enter into this game knowing that it will be supremely imperfect and have a few bugs to get past, you may find yourself enjoying the sensation of smashing enemies with the auto-targeting system, when it works, and navigating these impossibly designed levels. Each area really does try to have its own charm, and you get the experience of playing through all these cool, shiny areas to an absolutely unforgettable soundtrack. It's got platforming, treasure hunting, obligatory fishing game, running away from a robot, getting tired of it, and fighting the same robot. You know, the usual Sonic lore of stuffing innocent creatures into machines to power them, and all that big fun shiny jewel stuff. I'm a gemstone collector. This seems fun enough. The other thing I hadn't considered until writing this review is that because I streamed this game with the goal of completing it, I didn't even take advantage of the Chow Garden. I could turn the game back on and load up that area so I can know what it feels like to be a mother. Find an egg, hatch it, put it in competition with other children, influence it with my particular goals in mind, and then be horrendously disappointed with how the child inevitably turns out. You know, hashtag just mom things. At the end of the day, I never would have completed this game to its end if I wasn't getting something out of it. I had to enjoy something about it, right? I got to go fast. I got to go off screen. I got to go nowhere sometimes. Even if I look at this game through a seething scope of pure burning red hatred, I still have to laugh at the sheer absurdity it presents me with. The director's cut is so full of broken mechanics that it essentially becomes its own form of comedy. And if there's one thing I desperately needed at this time of playing the game, it was a hearty laugh. I would also rather play this game again in its entirety than spend 10 minutes playing Sonic 4. And that is my review of Sonic Adventure DX.
Alright. And now, it's time... Baby Sonic, get the fuck down from there!
Boy's gonna get hurt.
Jesus Christ. I swear. Alright. So, I don't think I liked video games when I was a kid. My family had a SNES and a Sega Genesis, but the only games we had were multiplayer games that my brothers refused to play with me, and Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Everyone young enough to have played those original Sonic the Hedgehog games when they were kids probably had the same experience. You played through the first level, be it Green Hill Zone or Emerald Coast Zone, and had an absolute blast. If there's one thing no one can take away from most Sega products, it's their delightful aesthetic appeal. The music in those first stages would fill your young heart with glee as you zip through those lush pixelated backdrops. You joyously explode those enemies with the lofty bounce after they knocked your blue butt to the dirt and returned your precious rings to the earth. They couldn't stop you, and neither could Eggman, waiting for you at the end of this first stage with the wrecking ball floater thing or his goofy drill car. There was one thing that could stop you, though. Chemical Plant Zone. The aesthetics were just as engaging as they had previously been, but the kinetic thrill of traversing the stage was gone, and it was never going to return. Everyone has their own idealized version of Sonic. For some people, it's those classic Genesis games, and for others, the open world adventure of Sonic Adventure 1 is practically a second home to them. The jazz fusion of Station Square acting as the funkiest lullaby. Despite the fact that it's far from the best Sonic game and probably not even my favorite experience with a Sonic game, I think that Sonic Adventure 2 is my idealized version of Sonic. When you jump into the hero's story, you're immediately greeted by the Blue Blurred being detained by the US military for one of his various war crimes before breaking free of the armored helicopter he's being transported on. Fueled by the ultimate weapon, Ska, Sonic then proceeds to rip a chunk of steel off of its wings, implying a terrifying level of strength that I don't want to spend too long thinking about, and uses it as a makeshift skateboard to glide down the hills of not San Francisco. Much like the Green Hill Zone music, Escape from the City is a song that never leaves your brain once it has worked its slimy entrails into your ear hole. As I played through this level during our charity stream, I had to hold myself back. Nay, I had to hold my soul back from singing along with that driving butt rock. The same joy that had filled my heart as a child began to flood into me again as I grinded across railings and bounced off the enemies that stood in my way. The Jubilee filled me once more, and nothing could stop me now. Not the mock truck, not that simply had the word gun printed on it and plowed through hundreds of civilian vehicles in the streets as it hunted me down, nor the weird mecha that was waiting for me once I had reached my golden destination. However, there was a new hurdle waiting for me this time.
We need to reset the Victrola.
We do. Knuckles.
Pardon me.
Sonic Adventure 1, famous for that hot Sonic jizz music.
Place the needle down carefully here.
You have to refresh the page.
Right.
I don't know why it is, but you have to refresh it.
Of course. On the Victrola.
Yes.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Scan
There
for
we go.
viruses
Okay.
on the Ventrilo.
Right. I thought I went too forward, but I got it in. I got it in the groove. We're good.
Be ready to scroll.
Of course.
Admittedly, the treasure hunting in the Sonic Adventure games isn't some atrocious demon spawn unlike Chemical Plant Zone. They're just kind of boring. As I mentioned before, the saving grace of these stages were Sonic Team of this era's endless devotion to their aesthetics. The music and stages feel like they have so much character to them that your brain starts to trick itself into thinking that it's enjoying the most dull Easter egg hunt it's ever experienced. I wish I could say I have more to expound on with these stages, but that's about where my opinion stops and starts. The rail shooter levels that comprise Tails/Eggman stages are about as equally boring and inoffensive, aside from the incessant beeping that makes you feel like your house is starting to burn to the ground while you run this janky little robot around and kill everything that moves. And then there was a break in when I was, writing the review. between, like, the first session that I played it and the second session that I played it. And this is where it picks back up. So, I wrote the first half of this review after completing just the hero story, and after having finished the dark story, I realized that I had been lulled into the classic Sonic Flim Flam. Slowly, as I progressed through the dark story, the levels began to stretch into infinity in their arduous length, and the frustration spawned by their design that my younger self experienced came flooding back to me.
Welcome, DP Dishy.
Thankfully, as an adult, these attributes didn't dig their claws as deeply into me this time. However, sticking a knife into an already opened wound isn't something anyone should be thankful for. The strange thing is that although the dark story has reminded me of the sour feelings I've always had towards Sonic Adventure 2, I feel like it also backs up my theory of it being the perfect idealized Sonic game. It has not only the promising start and the hard fall back to reality, but it also has the excruciating realization that you've become trapped in a sunk cost fallacy with Sonic the Hedgehog. You grapple with the game, grasping for any glimmer of gold you can see, but you're simply delving deeper into a mineshaft that will devour your eternal soul eventually. All the while, the blue blur cackles over your shoulder at your Faustian torment, howling into your ear, "Gotta go fast!" At the time of writing this, I still haven't replayed the last story, but I can only imagine that it doesn't get much better from this point forward. I fear for my life. Please consider this my last will and testament. Tell my wife and family that I love them dearly. I leave everything I have to Brianna Turf, including my gaming PC and vast Steam library. Hey Bree, have you considered playing Sonic Adventure 2?
God, no. Alright.
Baby Sonic, get the fuck down from there.
That kid, I swear to God.
You're gonna fall. You're gonna fall. Listen, you're gonna fall and it's not gonna be fun. Baby Sonic. Fucking, oh god!
Oh god! Oh!
Oh no! No! Oh god, he's dead!
I always knew it would happen like this. Thank you, DP. Appreciate it. Well, we're down a baby. But
we lost a child.
What are you gonna do? But hey, now we can, we need to finish this game. And
that's true, we do.
Yes.
At the end of the day, we still have to play through.
We just do.
Cut the music off.
There we go.
Anyways.
Okay, just turn off the Victrola there.